was a time in this country, a long time ago, when reading wasn't just for fags, and neither was writing. People wrote books and movies that had stories, so you cared whose ass it was and why it was farting, and I believe that time can come again.
Hello and welcome to the Think Liberty podcast. I am Tom Brady's playoff record. Jeez, so sick of seeing them win. Anyway, this is episode 58, and on this episode, we are going to cover Buzzfeed's super fantastic week. And just kind of the mainstream media in general didn't really have the best weekend here. Joining me on this episode, we've got Killian Hobbs from our own podcast here on the network, Coffee Shop Philosophy. Killian, how are you doing?
Doing well. Good to be back.
Yeah, man, good to have you. You're in that weird, different planetary time zone because you're over there in Antarctica or whatever. It's further away, so it's harder.
EST here in the igloos.
Yeah, whatever. Somewhere, wherever you're at, frozen tundra or something of that nature. The people with the jaw lines that don't connect, right? As we learned on South Park, that's what they taught us about. That's your homeland. Good times. Also joining us is Caitlin Clove. Caitlin, how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm glad to be back on the podcast.
Yes.
For 2 weeks in a row, which is, I think, a record.
I know. You're killing it. Doing great. Also joining us this evening is Lonnie. Lonnie, how you doing? Lonnie Dupree.
I'm doing well. Okay, I guess.
How's the bear?
Doing all right. The bear hasn't messed with me because I started peeing on my garbage can, and it seems like it worked.
I support it, man.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
I obviously missed something here. I think I missed one of the episodes.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So go ahead, Lonnie. Yeah.
I started urinating on my garbage can to mark my territory, and the bear has not come near it.
You're skipping ahead a little bit. So he lives in a.
I guess for anyone that missed that episode,
yeah,
my neighborhood, it has kind of a bear infestation. Most people deal with raccoons, possums, armadillos. I have bears, so I had to figure out something to keep them away. And I don't know. I guess I just kind of went a little crazy, and I peed on my garbage can, and it worked.
It's not crazy if it works.
As one does.
Yeah, it's not crazy if it works. I've done this before as well. As I have stated on this podcast, it should not be. It should be a surprise to absolutely no one that I have had cat problems over here at Ye Ol' Abode. And, I got to the same point where it's like I can't figure out how to stop these cats from shitting all over my property. So I started pissing on it. I started pissing on the perimeter of my house. And you know what? I wasn't ashamed. It's a weird thing. Like, you're more proud than you'd think.
Hey, animal problems require animal solutions. So.
Yeah. Did you get that that feeling of superiority too when you were doing it, Lonnie? Like, you're like, you know what? I don't feel silly right now. I feel like this is my property.
No, I was like, yeah. It's mine.
It's
my garbage can.
It's goddamn right. Anyone have anything exciting happen over the weekend for you guys?
Well, the New Orleans Saints lost to the Los Angeles Refs. There was that. That was sickening. I don't know if anyone saw that missed call. I mean, I know there's missed calls that happen, but and I believe that even on my own team, I believe that you should always call a foul if there is one. And some do slip by. But, I mean, that one was just blatant pass interference, helmet to helmet, personal, everything that you could possibly put on there, it was there. And I'm still mad.
It was pretty rough. The memes are pretty great, though. I like the one so far.
They are. The memes are great.
Gurley standing next to the ref, and they'd like traded jerseys. Like the ref is holding Gurley's jersey, and then Gurley's holding the ref shirt. That was pretty good.
Yeah, I saw one. It was the state. What state is pulling for what team? And it was the New England states had the Patriots, and everyone else had the Rams, and Louisiana had the Patriots.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah, that was rough. And as you heard in the opening, Tom Brady. By the time you're hearing this, Tom Brady did do what Tom Brady does in the postseason. Unfortunately, sorry to hear about that, Caitlin.
Yeah, I'm a Chiefs fan. It didn't go well for me. I don't know. Like I was watching it on my phone, and so I didn't actually get to see the game. I was just watching the score, and it was pretty tight there at the end. I really thought we were going to pull it off, but Tom Brady had to
do what Tom Brady does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He could have just given us a chance. Like, he's been to the Super Bowl 500,000 times. Like, just give KC one chance.
Literally 500,000.
I mean, if I was Tom Brady, I would want a ring. I would want a ring for every finger. I mean, I don't really blame him. Then I start wanting to collect them on my toes and stuff like that. I mean, I can't really blame him for, doing his thing. I mean, he is a great quarterback. I mean, I'll give him that. It's just, it is one of those things where it's like, yeah, can anyone else but the Patriots go to the Super Bowl this year?
Yeah, you just get sick of seeing the same people.
I wanted to see the Saints versus the Patriots because I wanted
to
hold on.
Oh my God.
How dare you?
Bear with me. I wanted it to be proven as an objective fact that Drew Brees is a better quarterback than Tom Brady. Because he is. He absolutely is.
You got to keep in mind, though.
He's severely underrated.
You got to keep in mind, though, that Tom Brady, every half inch of his forehead is a Super Bowl that he has gone to. He's going to keep going until he is a cone head.
If only it would have been.
I think that's it. I think it's a transformational thing for him.
Look, you're Canadian. You don't know what you're talking about. Y'all don't even have real football.
They just have.
I'm not going to argue you on that. CFL sucks.
If that were the case for Manning, he'd be the Super Bowl havingest, big headed quarterback in the history of the NFL.
If the Rams want to stand a chance, they need to either draft Eli Manning really quick, or Eli Manning needs to be in a commercial in the Super Bowl, something. Because any time that Eli Manning has appeared in some form in the Super Bowl, even via commercial, the Patriots have lost.
This is my hat now.
So
this is totally my hat.
Yeah, that's Eli Manning talking to Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. Yeah, it's true. Brady has trouble with Eli. With Eli there. Okay, so Killian, anything for you? Anything over the weekend? Or through the week? I mean, it's been a minute.
Nothing really exciting, like fending off bears with urine or anything like that. So nothing exciting on my end.
Yeah, how's the podcast going? How's ye old coffee shop philosophy?
It's doing good. Just last week, actually, we had the first guest on because I remember way back in the beginning, I did promise that I'd start to do guests, and then every week was just kind of me monologuing for a fair while there. But, I had Jody Marie on, actually. We talked about social engineering and some of the things that the state uses to influence people on during the school informative years, and then some of the stuff that they do as far as how they establish certain laws to kind of guide societal behaviors.
Yeah, I caught that. That was a really good episode. She did well there. I urge everyone to go check it out, and all of Killian's podcasts. Do you think you're gonna have guests on more often? Is this going to be something you're going to try and do every episode moving forward, or whenever you can?
Yeah, not every episode, because there are some things that if I have a certain topic in mind, then there's some things that I might not be able to get a guest for, but I'll still want to tackle. But yeah, I'm definitely planning on having a lot more guests on. if there's anyone listening to this that has a topic or something like that that they really want to tackle, or they think, if they've listened to my show, that that'd be a good place for them to talk about it, or they'd want to talk to me with it, they can actually go to Facebook there. I've got an author page on there. It's a small little thing, but you can actually message that page directly, just Killian Hobbs author, and let me know if you're interested in coming on, and we can set up a date or time or anything like that.
Baller. Cool, man. I like it. Get him in there. You should do like, are you going to do like a Molyneux, like call-in show? Are you going to psychoanalyze people? You're going to call in with their life, with their life issues.
That's one Canadian I don't need to be compared to.
Yeah. You just listen to him talk for 45 minutes. Listen, you just need to stop talking to your parents, and race and IQ is a big problem. That's how you.
Listen, I totally believe in freedom, but this Polish nationalism.
He cried. He cried.
Oh God, I was dying laughing.
It was something else. Okay, so we're gonna. Oh, by the way, to people listening, you're gonna notice this is coming out on a Monday. Normally, so we record these on Sundays, and then we usually release them on Tuesdays, but since we've got, it's a bit of an interesting bit going on here with the news, and this is relevant, we feel, so we're just going to go ahead and we're going to switch this episode in Liberty Bites. So this episode of Think Liberty podcast is going to be coming out on a Monday, and then tomorrow you'll be hearing the Liberty Bites episode, but let's just get right to it. So we'll leave the best for last. We'll get to the first one here. You get the Mueller investigation, right? It's everyone's favorite topic. Mueller investigation going on, trying to figure out what was going on. The Russian collusion or prostitutes pissing on the president or something of that nature. Always a fun time. But BuzzFeed released an article about, I believe, the cut and dry was essentially something that had to do with basically like Trump, I guess, telling Cohen to lie to Congress. Is anyone else familiar with this article? I think that was like the main part of it, right? Because that was the impeachable content, or the impeachable offense that came from the BuzzFeed report. Does anyone remember reading this?
Yeah, I read that one.
Yeah, so does that sound accurate? It was something like that, right? Like
yeah, something about how he had asked Mueller to lie about him taking meetings with Russia and lie about how long they lasted. Like, I think that was the big part of it, saying that they lasted like 6 months less than they actually did, or something like that.
Yeah,
like during his campaign. And
yeah,
it was all about like building a hotel, which wasn't even really campaign related. So
yeah, and everyone was
deal.
Right, and everyone was drawing parallels to Nixon and how, what led him to eventually resign, or the Bill Clinton situation. And so when this dropped, I mean, this story came out, I think it was like maybe on the 17th or something. And then on the 18th, at like 5:20 in the morning, 5:20 a.m., HuffPo was all over it, right? Like, resign or be impeached, Dems erupt over Trump obstruction report is the headline. And like BuzzFeed puts together this article, which is essentially just everyone like dogpiling. It's really funny. It really is only like a couple paragraphs actually kind of like describing what's going on with the thing. They link what they call a bombshell BuzzFeed report, and then they just have a bunch of tweets from people. It's pretty.
Yeah, that was bombshell. It was 30 tweets.
Yeah,
but only like one paragraph of kind of information, not even real information, just like, we had a couple anonymous people tell us that Trump asked Mueller to lie. Like, okay, cool. Here's 30 tweets. Okay.
The one thing that was interesting was they actually tried to follow up on it a little bit too, because it was what was the guy's name? Jason Leopold, I think it was the person who supposedly saw the documents, but also he, like Anthony Cormier had said that, he had not personally seen the documents. However, they said that they did personally see the documents, and then the fact, like, the Mueller team came out and rebutted the whole thing, and then they're just sitting there going, and they've had basically no real response to
Anything.
what they've done.
Yeah. All they've done is said that, no, totally. It's just like, I mean, this stuff is hilarious. Let's see here. We got let's go here. We got John Cusack. So this is your smoking gun. That's obstruction of justice. Impeach. Hold on. Let me find the Kathy Griffin is always my favorite when it comes to all things Trump. She, all caps, impeach and convict the motherfucker. She's great. Anna Navarro, our favorite. Brace yourself, America. Only God knows what President Loco will do to try and distract and deflect from this new bombshell. Declare national emergency. God. Don't put it past him.
What?
Yeah.
God, Anna Navarro, man.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, they were going hard on this one. There's people sharing pictures of the resignation notice that was sent in by Nixon, with the caption "violent cough." Here's someone with a mini cannon shooting a row of dominoes. And this one is written, "Nothing says I'm an innocent person like directing your lawyer to lie for you." And this is all fantastic stuff. And it's, as Killian said, and not long afterward, I think it was like the next day or something like that, there's a report that says Cohen, or not Cohen, Mueller's, the essentially like Mueller's team basically says it's not accurate. Like what's in the Buzzfeed report is inaccurate. It's not true. And it makes me just, when everyone gets all up in arms like that, it's kind of nice just to give them a little,
I think bombshell has lost its meaning completely, since there's one like every 5 days at this point. There's some news compilation thing where they put together all the times that CNN and Fox had said that there was a new bombshell with Trump's presidency, and it went on for like 6 minutes, where it was just them saying, "We have a new bombshell. There's a bombshell," like just constantly for 6 minutes. It's like it doesn't mean anything anymore. Like, he's not going to get impeached. Like, I don't like him, but it's not going to happen, I don't think.
I mean, you never know, right? Like, they could very well go to trial or whatever, and like,
yeah,
there's some truth to what's being said by the BuzzFeed report. They just didn't want it to come out before they were the ones that let it out. I'm not sure what the truth is, and we're not going to know, right, until more of this is brought to the light of day. But it's certainly seems certain that Mueller would prefer to be the one that would bring it to the light of day if in fact that does happen. And it's just it's a real bad look for BuzzFeed, to go out there and, like, I say that, and I know like everyone's like, yeah, I mean, it's pretty clear that like BuzzFeed heavily leans left on tons of stuff, but I feel like there was like a couple things that happened like recently in the news where BuzzFeed came out and they're like, their take wasn't what people expected it to be. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but like, I feel like there was a couple articles like about firearms where they're like, hey, you guys could be wrong, or like, like where they were kind of like in support of the truth. And it kind of seemed like, oh wait, maybe BuzzFeed.
They have a couple libertarian writers that come out with some good stuff once in a while.
Yeah. Like,
they also have a lot of, I guess what you could say, like opinion or guest pieces that they'll run as well. And from what I have seen, they do make a point of trying to run counter opinions as often as they can. Like, not to the point where you could actually say that it's an unbiased news source, because they definitely are. But they do seem to run like guest pieces that are somewhat to the contrary or somewhat towards the center right's kind of angle on certain things. But again, those are guest pieces. So I'd probably say like maybe 1 out of 10 of their news slots comes from that kind of a source, whereas the rest of it's kind of their in-house team that definitely has their own biases.
Oh, definitely. Very, very biased. And not only that, but I mean, when you put up something like this, and this had the whole country talking about it, right? This story, everyone was ready. They were impeach, like they were ready to go, man. Everyone thought they had it, and then just Mueller. The best part is like Mueller's office comes out. Like this is their superhero. You know what I mean? Like, this is their homie. Like, they are waiting for this dude to take down Trump, and they're gonna like, these people are gonna go plaster like posters of Mueller up above their beds as being, the great savior of their lives. And like, he was the bringer of doom for this situation, at least, as his team, personally disputed the BuzzFeed article, which has been funny, right? So then BuzzFeed turned around and basically like doubled down and said, we believe what we put out. So deal, which is a great look.
I gotta give it to the Mueller team for that, though. Like, I really do. Here you got this like thing that comes out that basically gets everyone going like, oh, it's hook, line, sinker, Trump's done. Yeah, this is great, to so on and so forth. And they step up and they just go, no, we're not playing that game. That's wrong. Take it down. We're doing this the right way. Like, I
love it.
Definitely got an appreciation for people in their team that decided that it was worth making a correction statement on that, rather than just going, it's BuzzFeed, and then carrying on with their lives and just kind of letting it ferment in public discussion. Yeah.
Yeah. It's nice that they put the kibosh on that, and they got in there and they shut it down. I hate all this crap. We've gone over it a bunch, but it is nice when you at least see, someone on a side trying their best to keep the integrity of something in place. It certainly doesn't suck. And then, of course, this is going to give ammunition to the troll in chief, who there's a video here, and he commented on the situation. Sorry for the bad audio. I feel like Trump always does these speeches with like right next to a helicopter or something like that. But here's Trump talking about the BuzzFeed speech, or the BuzzFeed report about Michael Cohen that we were talking about, and Mueller's team shooting it down.
I thought that the BuzzFeed piece, and maybe equally as bad, the coverage of the BuzzFeed phony story. It was a total phony story. And I appreciate the special counsel coming out with a statement last night. I think it was very appropriate that they did so. I very much appreciate that. I think that the BuzzFeed piece was a disgrace to our country. It was a disgrace to journalism. And I think also that the coverage by the mainstream media was disgraceful. And I think it's going to take a long time for the mainstream media to recover its credibility. It's lost tremendous credibility. And believe me, that hurts me when I see that. I'm the president of this country. Media could pull this country together. It hurts me to say it, but mainstream media has truly lost its credibility.
All right, he's not wrong. That was correct, Trump, in my opinion. I think he was pretty dead on there. And that's going to parlay pretty well into this next topic that we have. I thought that would be a nice thing to springboard into it with, and I'm sure everyone has had just about their fill on this situation, and this is the elder heard, Native American elder heard around the world, essentially. This is, you've seen it now, and this was another one that BuzzFeed kind of jumped on. I don't know if they were first. Were they first? Do you guys know where that was? BuzzFeed the first one that reported?
It wouldn't surprise me, but no, I don't know.
I feel like they might have been.
I think they were the first of what you could call a major news source to report on it. I'm sure there was probably like some secondary sites that had gotten to it, like maybe a little bit faster, just because, maybe they're smaller, have less content, and could push something out faster. But everything I've seen has been, it was a story BuzzFeed broke, but that just might be because of their size.
Yeah. So they broke the story. I think, I don't know. Like I said, not sure. But it came out, let's see, on yesterday, which is, by the time you're listening to this, then it was the 19th, right? The BuzzFeed story came out. And then the story went everywhere, right? Like you saw it now. I mean, every mainstream outlet seems to have covered this story. CBS, NBC, right? Washington Post, the New York Post, everyone covered it. And everyone that covered it had essentially the same headline, right? Which was basically like MAGA hat wearing teens taunting Native American elder. And that was just it. And it was everywhere. And then, everyone's seen the picture, whereas essentially just the kid sitting there smirking at the elder, as he plays his drum. And that was pretty much it. And it was absolutely everywhere being pushed as that, and that specifically. And then people started looking into it, and looking into it more. And then we started seeing that it may not have been the case. Now I know, Caitlin, you were seeing, what was the first bit of it that you started to see? Or, because I saw you guys were talking about it a little bit before I even started looking into it there, Lonnie and Caitlin. When did you guys start? Like, what was the first thing you saw that made you feel like maybe the headlines weren't exactly what was really going on?
For me, it was, they were only showing like a half circle for the camera. Like they weren't going all the way around. So I was like, okay, so what are they not showing? And they were super zoomed in on this. It's like every time that happens, like there's a lot more to the story. Like I want to see what's going on around. Like, are they really surrounding this, like this elder and not letting him go? Are they really taunting him, or is there a lot more to this? That was what struck me the most, was really just the camera angle. Also how short it was, like how short the video was. Usually, anything under a minute or two, there's more to the story and a reason it was cut so short. And how quickly people were vilifying this kid and using this as some kind of springboard to virtue signal about Indigenous people and every other buzzword that you can think of, calling him a racist and all of that. So, I mean, I guess that was what made me kind of weary about it, was everyone's reaction and the camera angles. I don't know. What about you, Lonnie?
Definitely like the reactions from it, because here you have, you get the video, the dude's playing the drum in the kid's face, and he's kind of just standing there awkwardly and kind of, I don't want to keep using the word smirk because that's what everyone else is using, but he's kind of doing like this weird awkward smiley kind of thing. I guess it kind of could look like a smirk. And what people are gathering from that expression, they're seeing this expression and they're going racist. All of this kind of stuff. Like this one tweet that I'm looking at here. It's actually 3 tweets from someone. I don't know who they are, but they have a blue check mark. So I guess they're somewhat important, I guess. So
that means
elementary school.
That's a certified NPC.
Oh yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. From elementary school through college, I went to school with sheltered upper middle class white boys who could devastate with a smirk, a facial gesture that weaponized their privilege. Infuriatingly, you can't fight that smirk with a punch or words. Second tweet, we saw that as Trump smirked his way through the election, and we'll see it, at Kentucky, so on and so forth. And I hate that smirk. It says, I'm richer, I'm white, and I'm a guy. My experience trumps your experience. Few things make me as angry as that smirk. Anyways, it goes on a little bit more. And it's
What
like,
the fuck, man?
how do you gather all of that from a kid just awkwardly? Okay. And then once, especially after everything was broken down, like all the other videos started coming out, and it's like, okay, if I would have been that kid, and after everything that I went through during that day, and at the very last part was this old Indian man coming up to me a foot away from my face and banging his drum and singing at me, I would probably just stand there and awkwardly smile, and it probably would look a little smirky, I guess. I don't know how I would react to that. And I don't know how you see that and you can piece together like this whole narrative based off of someone's facial expression. Like, I don't understand that.
Because they have a narrative already made up in their minds, and they're just using that to fill it. Yeah.
And people were just going like absolutely crazy over this thing. What was it? Steve Horowitz. What was his? Have it here.
I have it here. It says, I am a nonviolent person.
Okay, I'll let you read it.
I have never, to my recollection, punched anyone in my life, much less a young person. But every time I see a picture of that smug, white, MAGA hat-wearing asshole trying to stare down the Native American drummer, I am filled with rage and want to punch that smug right off his face multiple times. You want to know what toxic masculinity is? There's the face of it. Right fucking there.
Isn't hitting a kid toxic masculinity?
Right. Like, exactly.
Yeah. Round of applause, Mr. Horowitz, for fucking advocating violence on teenagers.
Like, in my mind, that right there is toxic masculinity. That is a severe insecurity. If you are so unhinged that you see a kid, like, if you see a child, basically, because that kid couldn't have been more than 15, and as an adult, this dude is at least 50 years old.
I just realized something. Look at, check this out. Check this out in the movie guy voice. Ready? But every time I see a picture of that smug, white, MAGA hat-wearing asshole trying to stare down the Native American drummer, I am filled with rage and want to punch that smug right off his face multiple times.
The multiple times is
I can't see this, but I'm actually crying right now.
Multiple times. I know it's probably a bad movie guy voice, but I guess it leads to the point there. Like, you want to sit there like talking about toxic masculinity when you're like doing your best to be a tough guy here. Like, clearly,
right. That's pretty toxic. I'd say that's toxic masculinity right there. If there ever was some, it is little beta. Oh God!
And all the people who've been running around
accused of being a toxic masculine person.
No,
multiple times.
Let me do it because I'm a girl. So all these people have been running around, going and like defining toxic masculinity and shaming the people who were upset about the Gillette commercial, have said that it's about abuse and being threatening towards others, and this fits every single one of those. Like, how is that not
The best part is that
perfectly
oh god, on that note, the best thing with
Multiple
these types of responses, because yeah, exactly. Fuck. you see this shit all the time too, where it's like, in this attempt to almost like to virtue signal, to stand for all of these other things, that you get this kind of almost sneaky version of it, like the sneaky mirror version of all the things that they supposedly stand against. But it's okay because they're doing it against, they're doing it against these more, I guess, standard things, or against these evils in the world that they perceive. Like, toxic masculinity is the devil. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to round up all these people and fucking shoot them. Like, what? What?
Yeah. Yeah. This makes me sick.
Nothing says toxic masculinity like a fucking 15-year-old standing there going, I don't know what the fuck is going on. Let's beat him up.
Right. We're going to get into exactly what's going on here. But yeah, and there's something a little silly.
You got people, just I'm seeing all kinds of comments on Facebook, all kinds of tweets all over about this. And it's like, people like, yeah, I want to carve his little smirk off his face. And it's like, whoa.
I'm going to twist his dick.
Yeah. Who are you, the Joker? Like, what are you, the Joker? Like, chill out. Like Ed Gein. Like, hold on. Like,
I want to play a game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who are you, Jigsaw? Like, what? Like, this is crazy. Like, just some of the people, like their reactions to it. And it's like, this is a kid. This is a 15-year-old kid. Like, what was he supposed to do? What was he supposed to do? And especially when you get to, the rest of the story and seeing like everything that led up to that moment, which I mean, y'all have a little bit more information on there because y'all have watched the videos more thoroughly than I have and stuff like that. So y'all can break that down a bit better than me. But I mean, like these are adults. These are adults wanting to harm a kid. Kathy Griffin.
Okay.
I want their names.
Give me your fucking address.
I mean,
the best part is they're doing all of this virtue signaling, like, in the sake of like tolerance. Right? They're like, you're sitting there saying like, man, I am so fucking mad that people aren't more accepting and kind, and I swear to God, this video makes me want to rip out their fucking esophagus and fucking hang them from a tree. Why can't people be more fucking peaceful? I swear to God, I want to put this kid's fucking nuts in a sandwich and fucking feed it to my dog. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you people?
Right. I've never felt that way about anybody. Well, I mean, maybe the ref that made that. Well, that did make the call in the.
I was going to say like BMW,
but
BMW
still,
drivers that don't signal kind of gets that out of me, but
yeah.
but fuck though. Like, one thing I will never understand is that just kind of double think. That's like the double think that is required to do that. Like, your brain has to have like a partitioned drive of some sort that allows you to say, it's all peace, love, and happiness, and we need to do this, we need to do that, we need to cure all these social ills. And the way we're going to cure it is with this little switchblade I brought with me, because we're going to go knife motherfuckers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's funny.
I want to rip your dick off and kill you. Love people.
Even if the kid was being racist, even if he was being racist and mean to the old man,
and that's the thing. Like, was he kind of being an ass? Like, was he smirking and like being a jackass? Let's just give that to him. Let's just give that to him. Like, okay, fine, he was being an asshole. He's still a kid. Like, you don't put out death threats to children and dox them and dox their principal and say, I will give $500 to anyone who goes and punches this kid.
Well, not only that,
they were trying to tweet at the Pope to try to make the Pope.
There was somebody who put out.
Listen, the Pope has enough to worry about.
They wanted the Pope to make a statement on this.
The Pope has a couple issues of his own.
On this kid.
That's insane.
Like, for disrespecting elders. Like, are you kidding me?
Did you see?
This is the clan of people who are always like, we need to raise our children better. We need to teach our children peace and love. But yet you want to go literally scalp this kid. Like,
I don't know
he's
if I would
part
use
of the
the term
children.
scalp considering the situation.
Or clan.
Well, I did that.
Yeah, the poor choice of words there, Caitlin. Good job there, Andrew Jackson.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Oh God.
No, it was bad. I mean,
this is where we get kicked off of Apple.
That's right.
Why does this always happen to me?
The mob went crazy though. I mean, there was it was really out of control. So they went to like the woke mob, and we haven't even gotten into what really happened yet, right? So we'll get to that. Just hang with us. So I call them the woke mob because it's a mob and they're super duper fucking woke. So they all went over to this Covington Catholic High School Facebook page, and it was still up at the time. It's not up anymore. They took it down since, and they grabbed a picture of a kid who kind of resembled the kid in the video. Turns out it wasn't the kid at all. This was just a different kid who was completely uninvolved. And they blasted that all over the internet, and everyone, of course, the tolerant left is like, fucking get his blood and put it in a fucking juicy smoothie, and I'm gonna go on a fucking 9-mile hike tomorrow morning and drink the blood of this fucking kid. And it was like bad. I don't know if anyone really said that, but
that's like fucking 90s.
I'm sure somebody said that.
Jesus.
Ow.
Yeah.
All right.
No, but I mean, like people, that's like people. People were getting crazy about it. I mean, like, and that's not even the kid, right? It's not even the kid. It is absolutely disgusting how quick people are to just destroy somebody because they feel right. Like I'm looking at a tweet right here, and this guy this week said, note that this school is trying to distance themselves from this debacle, but considering that there are 45 of them, surely the school must be held responsible for their collective behavior. Hashtag Covington shame, hashtag racism. And under it, it's this collage, a picture, and it's got 45. It's got someone went and took an individual still frame picture of every boy that was there and published it on the internet. And it says, Covington Catholic, do you know them? The world would like to know too. Hashtag Covington shame. Like this is what we're doing. We're just, let's get it all. Let's just roast everybody involved. Let's get kids that weren't even involved in it that kind of look like the kid that you don't like. Let's get him front and center. Let's get him staring down the barrel. And they published this kid's name, that it wasn't him. Publish his name happily. No problem.
Okay, I'm not one for involving the state, but how is this legal?
It's bad, man. This is bad.
Like, these are minors.
Stuff.
Like, how is this legal at all? Like, publishing names and addresses of children.
Yep, and their schools. Here's another good tweet. This is good. This is a good one. This disgusting human just became the poster child of all that is wrong in our world in the face of white privilege.
Wow.
How the fuck would these people survive?
No, the one I thought was funny was, this is what this turns into this, and it's the kid, and then they have Brett Kavanaugh, and it's like, really?
Okay, that was actually kind of funny, though.
Yeah, it was.
So this kid's going to be like a good drinker, or what?
He's going to become a Supreme Court justice? I mean, all right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. A bunch of fake rape allegations against him.
These people would not have survived like an Xbox Live chat. If children being racist gets you like ready to kill people, then yeah, they wouldn't have survived on like Xbox, like just lobbies in general.
No,
Right.
Xbox is brutality.
What gets me is the amount of libertarians sharing this shit and virtue signaling about how it was disrespectful. And one person who will remain unnamed said, like police officers, I am less upset by the existence of some bad ones than I am at the complicity of the observers. It's like, I just don't understand how libertarians of all people can get so offended by children standing around doing nothing.
Especially that one.
Yeah.
Right. The kids were literally doing nothing. It's like they're chanting "Build the wall." I listened to no one said "Build the wall." Nobody said "Build the wall." I didn't hear it.
I didn't hear it either.
Somebody I saw where somebody was like, I want him to be punished, like him on his background checks when he applies for jobs, for this to appear so he can never get a job, so he has to live in his parents' basement. It's like, geez, like
somebody looked up where he was going to college and posted the contact information for the admissions office. Like,
super tight.
They're really trying to screw this kid's entire life. Like, I don't care what he did. Like, if he had hit the guy, like, I wouldn't say doxing is the right way to go, but I could understand the outrage a little bit. But he literally just stood there. Like, whether he was being an ass or not, this is way beyond the scope of anything that is even remotely acceptable as a response.
How about this tweet?
Right. Even if the kid committed a crime, they can't release his name. The only thing they could say would be a Kentucky teen did whatever.
Right.
That would be it. You know, so even if he committed a crime, they still wouldn't be able to release his name. So the fact that people are now doxing him, I mean, I kind of, I don't know. I think there probably is some legal issues with that.
Yeah, but what are you going to do? I mean, so many people have done it at this point.
Yeah, well,
you'd have to hunt down so many. Like, it's a lot. Like, if you go on Twitter or on, it's a lot of the doxing's happening on Twitter, right? So if you go on Twitter and you look up like moments and you go to the news, there's a lot of stuff there, and like every news article, there's like 10 people that are like just sharing anything they can to try and take these guys down.
I'd like to put them in a padded cell with 4 or 5 big guys that I know. Oh, you want to tune the kid up? I saw that. You want to tune the kid up? Like what? Like, or somebody, they need to go to Paris Island. That'll teach them. And it's like, what do they need to learn? They literally did nothing. The kids did nothing.
No.
Out of all, like, we're going to get into like the whole story. Out of everyone that could have possibly done something, the kids did the least.
Yeah.
Close to nothing in the case of some of them.
Here's another good classy tweet. It doesn't actually matter what the backstory is. If you're wearing a MAGA hat and surrounding a minority member, you're a racist asshole, however you got there.
Oh, and speaking of that, the person that was like, well, if you go out in public with one of those hats, that's kind of what you're expecting. You know, you were asking for it.
Yeah, like, I got that tweet right here. You show up anywhere in a MAGA hat, you know what you are doing. You want it, you got it. And the first comment is just points out how ridiculous this is. First comment is, now do girls in short skirts.
Mm.
Flip that on its head, and it's like you are literally word for word being, you know, this toxic masculinity. You know, this is the excuse that rapists use. You know, like, oh, she was dressed that, you know, a certain way. She wanted it.
It's like that. This is like completely offside, but it also like it highlights that problem. Do you remember a couple months ago when that group put out all of those fake studies into social sciences journals just to see if they could get them to pass? Do you guys remember that story happening? They put out something like 12 papers or something like that actually got peer reviewed and accepted. And all of them were bullshit, empty articles that they did or papers that they did just to see if they could get it past the peer review by just filling it with a whole bunch of whatever fits the political narrative bullshit and seeing if it was being accepted on those grounds. One of the funnier ones that made its way through was a complete rewrite of the passage of Mein Kampf using feminist buzzwords instead.
I saw that. That was fantastic. Just great work.
But that's the thing that gets me is that just by switching who you're attacking or making it, I guess, socially palpable who your quote unquote enemy is then all of a sudden the tactics and the arguments are valid according to some of these people. Like things that if you framed it any other way would be considered,
Absolutely
terrible.
disgusting.
You can't speak like that. You can't take that argument. It's not right. That's not the way we should look at the world. And then you just swap out a couple of buzzwords and all of a sudden, oh, this is great. That's exactly how it is. Yeah, keep going, keep going. It's like they don't actually stop and think about the words that are leaving their mouth. And they just kind of cheer it on because they see, hey, they've got the same like team flag that I've got. Woohoo.
Orange man bad.
Like, just, yeah, orange man bad. Like,
Yep.
just completely ignoring it in the name of the narrative.
Yep. So we talked a lot about, and now look, we did put out an article on the website, and I'll link to the article in the show notes. And I know that people feel like they're probably getting hit over the head with this. And after this, we'll drop it. And I think we've covered it adequately for now. But I did want to cover it because from what we're going to go into now here, this is really bothersome to me. Someone that has kids, I have all boys. This is a really bothersome situation to me because what we're going to get into, I think quite clearly shows exactly what happened in this situation. And I just think like if God forbid, like my kids found themselves in a situation like this somehow. No, I'm not saying I'm going to, go send my kids to school in MAGA hats, but God forbid, right? And you get on the wrong side of a camera that's only showing 3 seconds of footage just so they can incite a mob. And I think that these people are absolutely disgusting that are going out here attacking these kids, saying the things that they're saying. I mean, there's people here. You've got another one, a tweet from Patton Oswald. He's tagging, it looks like, the superintendent of school diocese at Covington Catholic. And he's saying, great work you guys are doing there, shaping young minds. Take a bow. The first comment is just some woman saying, oh, he'll be sobbing uncontrollably in the next day or two once he's fully doxxed. Bullies like this are always weak. Like, you're cheering for this, trying to ruin someone's life. And why should you feel bad for yourselves? Well, we'll go into that now. So we did release a article today, and that would be Sunday on think-liberty.com. We will, again, link it in the show notes. By the time you're listening to this, there's a good chance it's probably still going to be up there on the homepage. So you can likely just go to think-liberty.com and check it out for yourself. And the article is titled, What Really Happened at the Lincoln Memorial. And there's a lot of video that is on the article. There's one of these people on Twitter went and they tweeted out a fair amount of what's going on here. So you'll notice something in everything that we've talked about in the Buzzfeed article and everything that we've talked about in all of the coverage that's been mentioned here. What's not mentioned is a third party, right? What you don't hear is this other group that's instigating things. And the weirdest thing to me when I started looking into this situation is I hadn't heard anything at all about anyone being involved in this other than this Native American elder and these kids in the MAGA hats. Now, I know, Caitlin, you know for sure what I'm talking about with this third group. How surprised were you to see that when you started watching this, when you found out that there was this much more to the situation that there really is?
Well, considering it was, 30 seconds into that hour and a half long video that they start yelling at people and calling them
it's the very beginning,
horrible names,
right? So
yeah, like I was really surprised. Like, why is this not mentioned? Like, I'm still blown away that nobody is talking about this other group,
right?
The Black Israelites. Like, how are they not talking about how ridiculously hateful they were towards everybody, towards the natives? It started out with them going after the natives and calling them, demons and, from hell because they worship animals and have their totem poles. And it was just horrible, horrible shit. And then, they're going after the kids, and the kids were actually kind of taking the the more tolerant route, standing up for all these people that they were going after. Why was that not included? I don't know.
Right, exactly.
Really
why,
surprising.
And why wasn't these? So this individual in mention, I'm not even sure if I'm going to get his name right here. It was Shar Yakata's Banayamayan or something. I don't know. It's hard to pronounce. I'm not exactly familiar, but he is a part of like Caitlin said, this kind of strange, like Muslim Israelite group. I'm not exactly sure what they are. It's all pretty confusing for me, and I haven't really looked too much into it. But here is actually a video. So what happened is this guy, it looks like he's like a preacher leading these four individuals, kind of standing there, and he uploaded an entire video. So you've got it's almost 2 hours, an unedited video that was uploaded to Facebook, and he immediately took it down. Very quickly took it down. Someone was smart enough to download it before he took it down, and they put up a mirror of it on YouTube, which you can also find on our post. And this gives you pretty much all the information that you need to really understand what went on exactly at the Lincoln Memorial. And so Caitlin mentioned that they started yelling, and that's exactly what happened. So if you look at the beginning of the video, in the very beginning of the video, it's just this guy Shar yelling at the Native Americans in their march. So here's what the beginning of that sounded like.
You are not savages. You are the children of God according to the Bible. You are the children of Israel. Before you started worshiping totem poles, you was worshiping the true living God.
That's right.
Before you became an idol worshiper, you was worshiping the true and living God. And this is the reason why this land was taken away from you. Because
now on the video, it shows the guy with the phone walking toward the Native Americans.
Every creation except the Creator.
That's right.
And that's what
now the Native Americans are walking up to him.
We are here to tell you to wake up to the four corners of the earth. This is the truth of the Holy Bible. We don't have a microphone, brother. Okay, and this is the part of freedom of the speech and freedom of religion, and that's what we out here for. Okay, and I hear you. I honor my God. We honor our God, brother.
So this
and
is
that's what we out here to tell
pretty
you.
much. You can't hear him. There's a Native American guy that pretty much walks up and says, "Like, you guys are being really disrespectful. We got women and children here."
And start worshiping the true and living power, which his name is Yahweh. That's who's the Most High God.
That's right.
The Most High God, his name is Yahweh. You're not supposed to worship eagles, buffaloes,
that's right.
rams,
right.
all types of animals.
That's right.
This is the reason why the Lord took away your land. Why am I so angry? Give me Proverbs 7:7.
So that's there was a Native American woman that walks up and she's asking him why he's so angry. So what's interesting here is that the kids aren't even a part of this video for like a good while in here. It's just this guy, and he's starting to yell at the Native Americans first. Now it gets much worse as it goes on. Instead of, now you guys please go to the website post and check it out. But this goes on for like a good hour. Like I said, it's a 2-hour video, and you don't even really see like the kids show up until I think the hour mark or so, right? You don't even really see them kind of make an appearance until the hour mark.
Yeah, it was right before the hour mark when the kids showed up. It was when their bus was coming there to pick them up, so they had all gathered on the steps.
Right, and so you've got this video out, and it's all this. So let's go ahead and just kind of, go back to really quick. I just wanted to. So we've got what this says. There's a bunch of it. I didn't want to play it all. The video, like I said, it's going to have trouble coming through with my mixer here because the video is a little hard to hear through our interface here. But if you go to the post, you can hear the video where this guy is saying this. But essentially what these kids are saying happened is they were told by the people at their school that they needed to go to the Lincoln Memorial and wait for a bus. They went and did that, and as they were waiting for the bus, they essentially got yelled at by this guy, which you can see verified on the video and all of the other videos that are going around for that matter, but that video makes it a little easier to see. That's exactly what happened. Right. And so
I have his Nick Sandman's statement here. It's a little long, but I can, if you want me to read some snippets of it.
no, I got it right here. I was just gonna.
You have it too. Okay. All
Yeah.
right, good.
So I didn't have Nick's, but I just had this little. It's another kid did it in a little bit more brief way, and he just kind of he just says, to reiterate, we did not partake in any physical or verbal abuse. We did not chant build a wall or mock anyone or anything like that. We did not seek to incite violence. After the initial occurrence, we were then verbally assaulted by 4 or 5 African-American men who called us faggots and berated one of our African-American students for being with us. This is exactly what happened, right?
They told him that the protesters, the Black Israelites, told the African American student that
Harvest their organs. That is good stuff there.
Yeah,
That is
yeah.
that is fantastic.
Yeah, according to
stuff
this, the protesters said hateful things. They called us racists, bigots, white crackers, faggots, and incest kids.
Yeah, and that's essentially what they call them. So here, so here's another part. So here is the part, the part where the Native American elder walks up. Now, and this is the weirdest part. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking to yourself like, wow, this sounds a little strange. It doesn't sound like it has anything to do with the Native American elder whatsoever. You would be absolutely correct in assuming that. So when you watch the video, this entire situation is essentially these 4 or 5 guys giving shit to the kids. Right. And it's the same rhetoric that you heard in the beginning of the video. He does the same thing with the kids and he says, oh, you're descendants of faggots and Donald Trump is incestuous. And this, he's just really trying to pick everybody apart, going to town on everybody. And for the most part, the kids are actually really tolerant, which is the funny part. So he's sitting there going off with all of this homophobic stuff. And the kids are actually responding by saying, like, there's nothing wrong with that. They're still people, man. Like there's nothing wrong with that. You're sitting out here yelling about it. It's okay if people are like that. It's fine. That's how the kids were responding. Right. And so here's the part. I'm going to go ahead and play it where this is where the Native American individual decides to walk up. So at this point, this guy has been kind of shouting at these kids for a bit, and now it sounds like and from what I've read, they were shouting their school, like some kind of school chant or something like that, right? And so this is the spot where we see, let me go ahead here, we hear the chanting, and then we see the Native American elder approach, and you guys tell me if you hear build that wall coming out here. So here we go with that.
Come.
Okay, you hear the drum. Here
See how
comes
much they respect you, Israel? Look, all of them. All these Americans. Go ahead, what you say? That's right. Here come Gad. Here come Gad.
Now here comes the Native American elder walking out.
Look at our Make America Great Again hats. Look at the hats. Look at the hats. We ain't taking. Look, we not taking. Look at Gad. That's right, Gad. Look at Gad.
And so this guy just walks right up.
Look at Gad not playing. He came to the rescue. Our elder right there. Look at him.
And so kind of there you have that. And what's the trip about it is it almost looks like these kids thought that the Native Americans were coming to like join in with their song.
Right. I can see why they would think that.
Like they looked very playful.
Right.
Like I think these kids handled it pretty well. I mean, to be completely honest, like, look, when I was in high school, I did a lot of dumb shit, right? And when I was younger, me and my friends had a pretty short fuse when it comes to like kind of shit like this, right? And it's actually kind of impressive. These kids just sat and took this for as long as they did, and the one response they have is they're singing and dancing and having fun, and that is apparently the worst thing in the world, right?
Right, and I think it was really funny how quickly the Israelites changed their tune when the Native American guy walked up to the kids, like, "Oh, it's our elder." Like, weren't you just saying that this guy
worshiping
was like, right,
worshiping buffalo and eagles?
Yeah. How do you so quickly change your tune just because the kids have MAGA hats on? Like, I'm sorry, that's not acceptable.
Oh yeah, and this is after he called them Klansmen and school shooters, crackers,
right?
Just on and on. So very, very interesting to me that the thing that wins the day and the thing that gets spread around is a kid smiling in the face of the guy hitting a drum. And the thing that gets completely passed over is actual, like, pretty racist shit, pretty terrible shit, right? Like, these guys, this part of this group, whatever it is that they are, there was some pretty rough shit being thrown around there. But that's fine. We're going to overlook the actual problem, and we're going to focus on the thing that really, just because of the hat, I guess, right? It's because of the hats, right? That's why.
I did get a couple responses because I've been, on Facebook all day trying to see people's reaction to this now that the whole video has come out, and only one person actually responded to, my question of what about these Black Israelites that were just saying these horrible, horrible things. He was like, "Oh, well, we already know that they were horrible, so that's not really an issue." Like, what? How is it not an issue it preceded the entire situation?
Not only is it a non-issue, it's totally bullshit, right? Then why are you like mad at MAGA hats?
Right.
Is it new to you
like,
that
if
Donald
they're
Trump
terrible,
is Donald Trump?
like, why are you still not condemning them? Like, you don't not condemn kids in MAGA hats because you've been saying they're terrible forever. So they're terrible, so you're still going after them. It doesn't make any sense why nobody is talking about this. Maybe because it doesn't fit their narrative, sure, but
it's because because you have to be humble, right? That's the problem. Right. Is people are going to have to come and say that they were wrong. And it's hilarious because you see people that are like, the first thing that they did that you saw when people started to share this video. And it's funny because you really can't argue with the video. Like, if you go and look at the video and all these other sources, like, there's nothing you can say, right? They literally didn't do anything wrong. When you read the account of the kids and you see the video, you see that the video actually ties in 100% with the account that's being given now by multiple different kids and the chaperones, right? So you go and you see all that, and then you see people start sharing this video around and meeting some of these people that are spewing all this hateful rhetoric. And it's funny to watch people just retreat into their corners with these really bad arguments as they scratch and claw at doing anything they can to still be right. So you've been seeing like a whole bunch of just terrible, horrible, human garbage bullshit arguments with people trying to justify like this crazy, just so they can continue to be outraged at people that don't deserve to be the focus of their anger, right? Like, what the stuff that we've seen. Like, the first thing that I saw when I was looking around, the first thing that I saw was people would say, "Oh no, first these kids were harassing these Black Lives Matter protesters." Right. And the kids were harassing them first, and then they turned on the Native American guy. Because there's a video, the video came out that showed the elder approaching the kids. So everyone was like, "Oh no, that's because, you see the kids were yelling at those guys, those Black Lives Matter protesters." And then the Native American elder tried to split it up, and those kids got in there and got in their face. And then we saw a longer video, because that was just a short video. We saw a longer video that disproved that. Right. And so now everyone's doing the whole, oh, it was their chaperones. Their chaperones knew. Their chaperones should have known that there was a thing there, so that's their fault. They were the ones behind it. And then you see the chaperones start releasing statements that are just basically saying, like, look, right, we were waiting for buses, man. Like, I'm just a parent. we're just waiting for buses.
Yeah.
Like, this is crazy. This has been a really insane day. Like, we didn't know this was going to happen. We were just told to wait here for a bus. We did, and this was crazy. And then they start going, well, shouldn't have let your kid outside with a MAGA hat. It's like, at what point can you go, I don't like the hats. I'm not sure that the kids were in the wrong here. Just look at the video.
Well, you see, that's the thing, right? Like we were saying earlier, once they see the flag, so to speak, like once they see, oh, this is on our side, this is not on our side, like once they've drawn those lines in the sand, the actual arguments that are leaving their mouths don't matter to them. Like, they don't even care about what it is that they're actually saying, so long as it, attacks the quote unquote wrong side and it makes their side look good. It's one of the reasons why we see people doubling down despite the just complete and utter degree to which this has been disproven. Like, it's not even a couple of things were wrong, so that changes the narrative sort of thing, where they could still try to put up a fight. It's like, no, everything you were arguing for just got completely and utterly pissed on. Please stop. But they just can't, because at this point they're in too deep, and to actually take a step back or say anything like that, to say, okay, you know what, we were wrong on this, we apologize to the kids, they didn't deserve it, that would be apologizing to people who went to a March for Life rally wearing MAGA hats. And it's just, they would rather bury themselves in being wrong and still keep whatever little virtue signaling points that they can get out of this situation that they have, than admit they were wrong and have to apologize to that side.
You know, it's disgusting. We bring it back again. And Killian, you're absolutely right. Is they would rather die on the hill than apologize to something that they perceive as being so terrible and toxic. And it's gross. But so I just noticed something now, just as you were, as we've been talking, I had on the article that I wrote when we published, there's a link to the Buzzfeed article that we were talking about in the beginning. And I just went back to it to see if there was something I could grab before we wrapped up here. And you know what I noticed? It was updated today. So it says here that it was posted on January 19th, 5:30 p.m. But it was updated today at 1:30 in the morning. And it's still just like, is that as crazy to you guys as it is to me? This thing was updated and it still has the same headline: MAGA hat wearing teen who taunted a Native American elder could be expelled. And it's just, all it's got is like more tweets from other people and more videos sharing, pushing their side of the narrative. They've got a picture of the Native American man crying, which just seems like, that seems super opportunistic at this point, doesn't it? Like, I don't mean to like hate on this guy or anything. I don't know him from Adam or whatever, but like, I feel you weren't even really a part of the situation, homie. Like, you put yourself into the situation. What the hell are you crying about? Right? Like, if you don't walk up to him, there's no situation for you.
Yeah. And with like the doubling down, it's one of those things where you have all these people, they're like, okay, look, here is 100 or so different accounts from eyewitnesses that were there that say that you're wrong, that the kids did nothing wrong. And here you have one that says that you're right. And they're like, I knew it. And they run with it.
Yeah.
And I took the time, because I was, while y'all were talking, I took the time to look up the Black Hebrew Israelites. This is the group, and in their Wikipedia, under the section allegations of black supremacy and racism, just kind of give an idea of because clearly we already know that they don't like Native Americans, but
If you
in late 2000,
watch the video, they don't seem like they like much of anything.
Oh yeah, yeah. This is from the Wikipedia article. In late 2008, the Southern Poverty Law Center described as black supremacist what it called the extremist fringe of the Hebrew Israelite movement. It wrote that the members of such groups believe that Jews are devilish imposters and openly condemn whites as evil personified, deserving only death or slavery. The SPLC also said that most Hebrew Israelites are neither explicitly racist nor anti-Semitic and do not advocate violence. So obviously there is...
This was the extremist part.
Right. There's a majority of them that have their beliefs, but as with any group, there's an extremist fringe. And clearly it seems like these people were a bit on the extremist side. It goes on... that the black Hebrew groups characterized as black supremacists by the SPLC include the Nation of Yahweh and the Israelite Church of God in Jesus Christ. I don't know what group these particular people were from. Also, the Anti-Defamation League has written that the 12 Tribes of Israel website, maintained by a black Hebrew group, promotes black supremacy. A 1999 FBI terrorism risk assessment report Terrorism Risk Assessment Report stated that violent radical fringe members of the Black Hebrew Israelite movement hold beliefs that bear a striking resemblance to the Christian identity theology practiced by many white supremacists. It also said that the overwhelming majority of Black Hebrew Israelites are unlikely to engage in violence. So they're probably not going to hurt anybody physically.
But that's fine, though, because listen,
they're going to yell some pretty nasty things at them.
Right. But hey, look, you don't need to hurt anyone in this day and age, right? The kids never hurt anyone. No one ever said that the kids hurt anyone. Well, what they did say the kids do was two things. Primarily, they smirked, for one, and they said, build that wall. Well, I didn't hear anyone say build that wall. And
I never heard anyone say build that wall either.
And we do have a group of individuals that we knew was actually saying pretty fucked up shit, but got completely overlooked by every single media outlet that exists, right? And again, the BuzzFeed News article has been updated as of today, January 20th.
Yeah,
nothing in that article still about these guys that we're talking about now.
Yeah, the only time that I saw any of the more mainstream NPC Orange Man bad types of people clarify who the African group was whenever the mom of the kid said something about they were being taunted by like some black Muslims or something. She didn't know who they were,
I have to imagine it was weird for everybody. When I first saw that video, I was like, what the fuck? What is this? What are these guys talking about? Like, where are these guys coming from? Right. I didn't even know these guys were a part of the situation.
People jumped in and they're like, no, they're black Hebrew Israelites. There was a correction there.
Great. I don't care what you say you are. Horrible shit.
Yeah, because obviously they're trying to spin the mom as racist because she said they were black Muslims. And so therefore, that's her Catholic her Catholic bias against Muslims. And they're just anything that they can try to grab on, like
any port in a storm.
Right. Any port in a storm. Yeah. Literally anything they're trying just to somehow make these kids the villains. And I don't know, maybe some kid did say something, and it wasn't caught by any video. I don't know. If I'm being taunted by all kinds of people while I'm waiting on the bus, I mean, I would probably say something back. I don't know if I'd say anything racist I wouldn't say anything racist. Let me clarify that. But I mean, it's still everything that I've seen from a video, from an eyewitness account. It contradicts what CNN, what BuzzFeed, what everyone else is trying to say.
Here's a good one. So here, wow. I scrolled down a little bit on the Buzzfeed article, and here we have here's some comments. So we have this guy commenting here. He says, as a veteran of many school field trips as a chaperone, I want to know, where were the adults who were with them? First comment. You guys ready for this? Attacking women elsewhere. Third comment. Here we go.
Right off.
Right. Yeah. No, exactly.
Like, fuck right off. Like,
right.
That's, oh my God.
Here's an even better one. Here's the tolerant left, right? Tolerant left. So they're replying. So one person says, as a teacher, a principal, a parent, a grandparent, that was also my first thought. Where are the chaperones who are obviously condoning this behavior? It is not just the students who should be disciplined. Where are the adults? And the next comment right after that, chaperones were searching for virgin altar boys.
Right.
Tolerant left.
Because they're
tolerant left.
That was one of the first things that I seen too. Was once they found out what kind of school they were from, they're like, oh well, this is exactly what I expect from Catholics.
Right? Isn't the whole problem hasty generalizations here? Like hasty generalizations on groups,
right.
Stereotyping groups of people.
Right. I grew up Catholic. I grew up like I was like a Shiite Catholic. Like like it was very, very traditional the way I grew up. And that racism, any of that kind of stuff was just not a part of it. That there was, more behavior focused, where certain behaviors of the modern world, were evil or whatever. And, that's the kind of stuff I grew up with. I grew up like really, really Catholic. And this isn't like a Catholic teaching. Like, I don't understand where people are like, oh, well, of course, because they're Catholic. Where does that even come from?
I don't know. All right, guys, we've been at it for a minute. Does anyone want to say anything at all before we get going?
I just want to say that the championship game was stolen from the New Orleans Saints by the refs. Clearly, the ref had promised his kid a signed poster, from all of the Rams, because the Rams was his kid's favorite team, and
Lonnie feels he was robbed.
Okay, we definitely were.
All right, put it on the record. Anybody else? Killian?
I'd like to say that I was also robbed of the championship game. The Chiefs should have taken that.
Oh yeah, yeah, you were.
Yeah, got gypped.
Yeah,
Lonnie and I both. I don't have anything else to plug. So
you guys should like shittier football teams, so you won't have to deal with the disappointment of the postseason if you don't make it to the postseason.
I mean, I've been a Chiefs fan forever. I thought I was safe there.
Right,
They've
true.
always kind of sucked.
I've been a Saints fan since they were bad.
Since they were been a Saints fan since they were the Aints.
Yeah, since they were the Aints. They used to wear paper bags over their heads whenever they would attend. Fans would attend the games, and they would wear paper bags over their heads out of shame, but they still go to the games. So
yeah. All right. Okay, everyone. Well, I will give you guys back your evening. So, to everyone listening, thank you very much for listening. And like I said, we know you've been beaten over the head with this topic, and we'll leave it alone now. But I wanted to make sure that we gave it its coverage as best we could in telling the truth about what I think is clearly obvious with this situation. So thank you, listeners, for your patience, and thank you very much for listening. Thank you to my guests. I appreciate you being here and lending your time. And whether or not anyone likes it at all, we will probably be back again.